Rival Signing Day show continues. I'm Adam Gorney. This is John Garcia Jr. We're talking SEC storylines, and there's plenty. Georgia's number one class. No surprise there. Alabama's number two. Not a shock there to begin with anyway. Just talk about that dominance and what that means for the SEC continuing moving forward.
Rinse and repeat, right? Yeah. You know, as conference realignment, NIL, the Power Four, whatever we want to talk about in 2024, it's still all about the SEC, at least at the beginning of the conversation, especially from a recruiting perspective. And look, Georgia does it at every single level, but particularly on defense. They've got literally a five-star up front, one at linebacker, two in the secondary. So another classic Georgia class and very deserving of that number one ranking. I think, Alabama finishing number two was pretty surprising. We all remember what we were doing the moment Nick Saban retired, immediate decommitments in 2024 and 2025. You just wondered how that group would rally, but they did, and they brought in multiple recruits on National Signing Day, including Ryan Williams, despite a little bit of a delay there. So Alabama finishing second, despite all of that, I thought was a really big deal because obviously the SEC is loaded from a recruiting standpoint.
I'm going to put Alabama's class second with an asterisk because Julian Sayin, in a weird year of what happened, counts in the Alabama class for signing day, but also counts in Ohio State's class as a transfer. But a phenomenal class along the way. Pick one though. The 5 stars for Georgia both had 4 5 stars. KJ Bolden, Justin Williams, Joseph Jonah Ajonye, and Ellis Robinson versus Ryan Williams, Jalen Mbakwe, Zabian Brown, and Julian Sayin, both loaded classes.
Yeah, I'd probably go with Georgia just because of the expectation. Those guys will hit the ground running, and obviously Sayin is no longer at Alabama, so 4-3 in that regard. Yeah. But you do have just really the banner recruit for Alabama coming in again, and Ryan Williams. That was really area one, target one for Kalen DeBoer, and he got the job done. And I think that's really important for sustainability.
One class that should not be overlooked is the wide receiver class at Auburn. And Hugh Freeze is a great play caller, but he needs players. He needs top guys to throw the ball to. He got one in Cam Coleman. Talk about that wide receiver group, but also the linebacker group that should not be overlooked with DeMarcus Riddick and Joseph Phillips and those guys.
Yeah, another one that, you have to have instant impact players if you're Auburn and Hugh Freeze after what we saw in 2023. And the wide receiver group is as good positionally as any group we've seen in the class of 2024. Cam Coleman, the obvious headliner, 5-star, top 10 recruit, just throw him up the ball and he'll go up and get it. But love the rest of the guys. I mean, if Perry Thompson's your number 2 at 6'4", 200 pounds, running the 400-meter dash, I mean, that's pretty good. And maybe the lowest ranked, Malcolm Simmons, just won the state high jump title. I mean, so this group as a whole, Bryce Cain's the 4th, extremely electric downfield guy. That group in some way, shape, or form, maybe multiple guys, have to hit the ground running at Auburn. And then you mentioned the linebackers. I think just modern traits with those guys. Joseph Phillips, DeMarcus Riddick, easy 3-down players who can play in space. They can cover running backs. They can rush the passer in a pinch. So you have to get instant impact guys if you're going to compete with Alabama before or after Nick Saban. And that's what Auburn's been able to
do. SEC loaded top to bottom. Almost all the 5 stars are there. I think more than half the class. There will be much more on Rivals.com all day. Stay tuned.